What's up everybody, welcome back to the S3 Magazine YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing a pretty cool install on my Ford Focus ST, which is sitting right outside for now. So when I started off kind of building my Focus ST, if you want to call it that, I couldn't decide if I wanted to go more of like the show cart kind of stancy route or if I wanted to do like more performance, like track day capable stuff. And the more that I drive that car, the more I realize how much fun I have just generally like pushing the car to its limits. So one of the things that me being around Gridlife as much as I have, I mean I've been to 4 Gridlifes now, all of my friends that I've made are all track day guys. So I'm kind of itching to do some type of HPDE event or do some autocrosses or something with the Focus. And right now in the space that it's in, it doesn't have any chassis bracing. And as fun as it is in its stock form, I know that it can be better. It just so happens that one of our good friends at S3 is none other than the Danny Check. Shout out to Danny Check, the owner of TB Performance Products. If you're not familiar with TB Performance Products, he makes chassis bracing for different types of vehicles. I'll go ahead and show you. Danny fabricates chassis bracing for a range of chassis. So Ford, Mazda 3, Nissan, Toyota, Honda, Subaru, Volkswagen. And if you're even curious to build it yourself, he gives you an option to do so. How great is that? But anyways, I hit him up and I was like, yo man, I really want to dial in the suspension on the Focus. Right now it's just on Eibach lowering springs, and although lowering springs are fine, I really want to get some coilovers to kind of take it that extra step. So I'm working on getting some coilovers, and I talked to Danny and I'm like, yo man, I really want to dial the suspension in. What do you recommend? And he was like, dude, don't worry, let's get you everything you need. So he sent over a care package, a pretty cool one, and this is what we got. So what you're looking at right here is the torque gusset traction bar, the rear arm bar, the booty boot camp brace, or a rear strut brace if you will, the rear mid chassis brace, the cross member brace, and then I also have one of his rear motor mounts. If you're not too familiar with Focus STs, one of the biggest mod recommendations as far as torque steer goes and wheel hop is the rear motor mount. So if you haven't replaced that and you're dealing with that problem, you're gonna want to head and get you one of those. Other than all the chassis bracing, you need a little bit more power, right, whenever you go on the track. So to cope with that, we got something a little special coming. But that's for a later date. You can't know too much about that right now. What we're gonna do first is TB's rear motor mount. Now, I've never done one before. My buddy Zach, he's got a Mustang now, but he used to own a Focus ST, and he did a rear motor mount in his, so he knows the ropes as far as that one goes, and we'll just get her done. And I'll just knock that over. Alright, so there it is. That is the TB Performance rear motor mount. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Basically that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, and this bolt. And it comes out. You don't have to brace the engine or anything. It's just a direct replacement. I was expecting it to be way more complicated than that. Also, check out these Mishimoto charge pipes. Pretty dope, huh? Alright, what's next? Okay, so for the torque gusset traction bar, if you haven't done it before, Danny actually provides a installation guide. So you can go to his website and he provides step-by-step instructions on exactly how to install the bar, along with photos. And I'm pretty sure if you go to YouTube, there is actually a YouTube video on it as well, where he takes you through step-by-step. Yep, right there. So you can just copy that, go directly to YouTube, and he walks you through step by step. There he is. Love you, buddy.
You guys here on how to install the torque gusset traction bar.
Race car. More than just mad skill. He's got a beef and tail in the beard. Perry the platypus. So one of the things that we realized, the flare on this bolt is too large for the cup on the crossmember brace. So you're actually, I did message Danny Check. You're supposed to grind down the lip of this. I mean, it really only needs like a millimeter to be grinded down so that this bolt can slide into the cup and bolt down. You can see right here on this one where it doesn't fit. You can see it does not, it obviously doesn't fit the cut. So that's the one we grinded down. Fits right in there. Next up is the mid chassis brace. I actually misplaced the bolts to these forever ago. Well, one of them. So I have this. We ended up having to go get some bolts that match this size, but we got that. So now we go throw that on. It should set up there just like that. Let's go figure it out. That one's on. Because of the torque gusset traction bar, it's in the way of this little corner on both sides here. So you have to cut out a little section. Danny Check actually gives you a photo of where to cut your cover. I guess you don't necessarily have to reuse your cover, but I personally like to, just to avoid, you know, soaking the bottom of the engine. It just kind of keeps things cleaner. So I'm gonna cut it, that way I can still fully bolt it down. And then that's it. That's the only modifying you have to do to the cover. So I'll go ahead and do this to the other side. We'll bolt the belly pan back onto the car, and then I'm gonna back the car in so that we can do the rear traction bar and do the booty boot camp brace. I got the cover back on. It's a little bit of a tight fit right there around the brace, but once you cut it, it's really not that big of a deal. And it kind of makes it easier once you slide the belly pan under there. It's not falling on your face. It kind of just rests there until you put your bolts in. So honestly, if you want an easier way to put your belly pan back on, buy this bar. All right, now we're gonna back the focus in. This is going to be my first time feeling the rear motor mount. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's so vibrating. I don't hate it though, it's kind of fun. It kind of, you know, it feels like race car-y. That's such a vibration, oh my
God. What was that?
Let's clear my throat.
You do hell.
The rear traction bar. Let me take you over here and show you this. All right, so this is the arm right here, right? You can kind of see it right there. Because of the fuel tank being right here, you can't really get a good ratchet right here to get the bolt to go all the way through. So what we ended up having to do was drop the back side of this arm in order to get to the inside and get that bolt through. Then we popped this back up in there and just ran that bolt back through. It made it so much easier than trying to fight, not having enough room right there. So we're gonna put the wheel back on, drop the car, and then it's time for the booty boot camp brace.
Time to start drinking.
Zach said it's time to start drinking. What are you drinking?
Dick skin.
Diskin cider. Basically, the booty boot camp brace just goes in here. Bolts in all dope like that. How sick is that? Okay, now we are officially done. This is solid and is not going anywhere. And with that, that wraps up the whole TB Performance bracing overhaul. That is the last piece. So now we've got a brace here, got a brace here, we've got a brace here, a brace here, and then a brace in the trunk. So that's awesome. It's now like 2 days later. It's finally dried up enough where I can go get a feel for the car because it was just raining too hard. So we're gonna go find some curvy roads and see how the car likes it. I'm trying to think of the best way to word it so that you have a general understanding of what it's like without actually being in the car. So I drove a specific road before I did all of this stuff, and then right after it, I'm driving it again. Right off the bat, I'm noticing that when you go into like a sharp corner, prior to doing all this chassis stuff, you could feel the body of the car compressing a lot more. You could feel a lot more body roll. You could generally just feel more pressure on your body. Going into the same turn at the same speed now with this chassis bracing stuff, I mean, it really doesn't feel like all that pressure is being put on the chassis or on the car. It just kind of feels like we're just kind of cruising in and out of, you know, slight bends. It doesn't feel like it's nearly as aggressive. Like before, you could definitely tell you were doing some hard cornering, whereas now it doesn't feel as much that way anymore. I mean, it doesn't feel any different as we are right now, just driving in a straight line. Doesn't bother the car at all. It just doesn't feel upset in the slightest like it did before. There was so much body, like weight transfer in and out of corners before. That's just not there now. And I don't even have coilovers. I'm only on lowering springs, and I've had these lowering springs a while, so they've borderline killed my factory shocks. And even with just this chassis bracing, I couldn't imagine what it'd be like with coilovers. As far as the torque gusset bar and the rear motor mount, so that's supposed to be eliminating wheel hop and torque steer. So I'm gonna slow down up here. We're in second gear. Nothing. No twitch at all. If I were to have a beforehand video of me doing that pull, like it would be twitching all over the place, and it doesn't bother it at all. Just straight. That's crazy. If body roll, wheel hop, and torque steer irritate you, dude, TV Performance all day. You can't go wrong with any of it. Like, I did not believe that it would make as much of a difference as it has. And I haven't even done autocross or put it on a track at all. Oh my God, I can't wait to do that. That's gonna be so fun. But other than that, I think this video has been long enough. Once again, Danny Check at TV Performance Products, thank you so much for supporting S3 and doing all you've done for us. You are an awesome guy. We owe you a million favors. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Watch out for the big turbo build coming on this car soon, and I'm sure there's probably gonna need to be a built motor come not long after that one. But with that, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.